Welcome back to EDH on a Budget. I'm your host, Iceman, and today we're going to be going over 6 different static planeswalkers. By static, I mean planeswalkers that have an ability even if you don't activate their loyalty ability. So, first up, we have Ugin the Ineffable for 6 mana, colorless mana. This planeswalker costs about $1.05, and it says colorless spells you cast cost 2 less to cast. So this can be used in a variety of decks that have artifacts, mana rocks, colorless creatures. There's a good bit to go with there. And its activated abilities, or loyalty abilities, are pretty good also. It comes with 4 loyalty, and you have a -3 option to destroy target permanent that's 1 or more colors, or to +1 exile the top card of your library face down, look at it, create a 2/2 colorless spirit creature token. When that token leaves the battlefield, put the exile card in your hand. So it's kind of like pseudo card draw and removal and cost reduction. So it's definitely hitting many axes of what you want in a card. 6 mana is a decent bit, but because of the colorless spells costing 2 less, you might be able to kind of pop off with this, and in decks that want that reduction, the 2 is huge. And it is also a card that can destroy pretty much any card type other than lands, because lands don't have any colors. So if you're having troubles in red with enchantments, it's an expensive way to destroy an enchantment, but it certainly can. Next up, we have Kiora Behemoth Beckoner. This is one of my favorites. It's 46 cents. This planeswalker is 2 and a hybrid, green or blue, so it's only 3 mana. It comes in with 7 loyalty. That's huge. And it comes down early, being only 3 mana. It says -1 untap target permanent. So that could be more ramp if you're untapping a land or mana dork, mana rock. Doesn't have to be yours, so you could use this to politic somebody, be like, hey, don't attack it. And its static ability is whenever a creature with power 4 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. So this is great in terms of its card draw, its mana ramp, it's 7 loyalty, so even if somebody wanted to attack it early game, it's very unlikely that they'll be able to remove it. And it's just repeatable card draw. Doing what green loves most, putting out big creatures with big powers. There's even many ways to create token creatures that have a power 4 or less. That's another thing I like about this. It doesn't say cast, it says enters. So Azuri's Predation in this is nuts. Rampaging Baloffs in this, nuts. A lot of card draw. Next up, we have a very classic, Nissa Who Shakes the World. There are a few printings of this. The cheapest one is $2. This planeswalker is 3 green. It comes in with 5 loyalty. The static is whenever you tap a forest for mana, add an additional green. And its +1 is put 3 +1/+1 counters on up to 1 target non-creature land you control. Untap it. It becomes a 0/0 elemental creature with vigilance and haste. So untapping a land, probably going to be your forest, and forest tapping for 2 mana. That +1 ability, yeah, it makes your land vulnerable since it becomes a creature permanently, but it's also creating up to 2 mana. And that creature having haste and vigilance does mean that you can attack with it and still tap it for mana at a different time. And this final ability is one that just puts a clock on the game, because it's going to be hard for you to lose if you activate it. -8, you get an emblem with lands you control have indestructible. Search your library for any number of forest cards, put them on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. So you're definitely going to want a lot of forest in your deck, or card types that have forest in it. Next up, we have Tezzeret, Betrayer of Flesh. He is 29 cents. This planeswalker is 2 blue, has 4 loyalty, and the first activated ability of an artifact you activate each turn costs 2 less to activate. So I like this because it's not only on your turn, it's each turn. If you were to pop a clue on your turn, you could pop another one on your opponent's turn, the next one, and you'd be doing that for 0 mana. That's possibly one of the best ways to use this, because it doesn't say that the mana can't be reduced to less than 1 or anything like that. There's many artifacts that have activated abilities. The key is to just get enough of them on the battlefield, and ones that can be done at instant speed, which is the vast majority. Tezzeret has +1, draw 2 cards, and discard 2 cards unless you discard an artifact card. So great, that's card draw. Putting stuff in your graveyard could be relevant. -2, target artifact becomes an artifact creature. If it isn't a vehicle, it has base power and toughness 4/4. Okay, so you have a blocker if you want it. And -6, you get an emblem. Whenever an artifact you control becomes tapped, draw a card. So it's definitely not a I win the game ultimate, but most of these you're not playing for I win the game ultimates. This is a ultimate that is probably still going to get this targeted, because tapping an artifact and drawing a card for tapping the artifact is going to be huge, especially if you're playing this in an artifact deck. Next up, we have Kasmina, Enigmatic Mentor. This planeswalker is 15 cents for 3 and a blue. It comes in with 5 loyalty. Spells your opponent's cast that target a creature or planeswalker you control cost 2 more to cast. So this is not quite ward, because ward also is affected by triggered and activated abilities, and this is not. This is strictly just spells cast. Also, they have to pay 2 more to cast a spell at all, versus ward, they can cast it, but then it gets countered if they don't pay it. So if their spell was uncounterable, then it would still go through. This uncounterable doesn't matter, they just have to pay 2 more. So that's pretty nice protection. And it says -2, create a 2/2 blue wizard creature token, draw a card, then discard a card. So this, I think, fits in that range where people will see it and feel, oh, that's not too powerful. I don't need to target that planeswalker. Meanwhile, when they want to target your other stuff, that 2 more is going to add up, and then you're gonna probably look elsewhere. So it creates a body to block. That's nice. A little bit of card advantage and just good protection. And if you like what we're showing, please like, share, and subscribe to help the channel grow. Last up, we have Vivian, Champion of the Wilds. This is another favorite of mine. This planeswalker costs 73 cents, and it is 2 and a green. Vivian has 4 loyalty, and the static ability is you may cast creature spells as though they had flash. +1 until end of turn, until your next turn. Up to 1 target creature gains vigilance and reach. So, that's not a fantastic ability, but it's pretty nice in terms of that creature won't tap if you want to attack with it, and it can block flyers until your next turn. Well, many abilities only say until end of your turn, so that is a key distinction, something you could easily forget if you're not paying attention. And the -2 is look at the top 3 cards of your library, exile 1 face down, and put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. For as long as it remains exiled, you may look at that card, and you may cast it as if it's a creature card. So it does have to be a creature card in the top 3, so you might whiff. But really, I think casting creature spells as though they had flash is going to be the part that makes this huge. Only 3 mana, you could easily cast this, have some mana left to open, and they're not going to know what you have in your hand. So attacking this planeswalker with mana open is going to be risky for them. You could flash in a Death Toucher, and they could lose their creature that they don't want to lose. You could flash in a Reclamation Sage that destroys their artifact or enchantment. They're not going to know how to play around this. And one of the best parts about Flash is that it's going to feel like haste. When you put a big creature in without Flash on your turn, everybody's going to have a turn to destroy it, board wipe, put up some sort of defender, and they're just going to have time to prepare. But with Flash, when you do it on the end step, right before your turn, they all had their turns, and it's going to enter, and then you're going to untap, and that creature now is haste and it's ready to attack or tap. And they're going to have a very small window to do anything. This is definitely a great card. You should definitely give it a shot, and thanks for watching.